돌아온 영들 리턴하지.
Welcome back to the Hearthstone KeSPA Cup. Here we're about to jump into our second semifinal matchup of the night. It is going to be DDaHyoNi versus Caster going head-to-head to decide who goes up against Chunsu in that final match.
That it is, and this is going to be an exciting one for sure because I feel we will see something new out of DDaHyoNi. DDaHyoNi massively favored here at 67%. Coming into this tournament, he was considered by many, especially the Keck TV prediction rate, to be one of the weaker players. He was not, heavily favored, but after seeing his play in yesterday's matches, he seems to be the best player in the tournament. My big favorite after yesterday as well. So excited to see how he's going to perform today and what new decks he'll bring to the table. Kind of crossing my fingers and my toes. Maybe we see a Hunter today of some variation. It would be really exciting to see. But it's still pretty unlikely.
Yeah. Even if they found maybe a way to make it work, I still am not sure if they would bring it to a match as important as this. I don't think it's going to come out in the semifinals for sure. If we see it in the finals, that would be very exciting. But, of course, you have to win with that deck if you want to win the whole thing. So it's not like you can just bring a deck that might work and you can try it once and then you're like, okay, it didn't work.
Yeah, so
you need to win with it with every deck.
Exactly. So, he could, if he's going to bring a deck like that, when we go into this ban phase, look out for the self-ban. That's going to be exactly what DDaHyoNi wants to use in the finals and he wants to hide. Not to say that Caster doesn't have a deck like this too. It just feels like DDaHyoNi's the innovator here.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because he has those silly videos at the beginning where he loses like 6 games in a row and then finally they get the right recording. But
yeah.
he's got those educational videos about those videos are like basic decks you can use on the ladder. What he's actually bringing to this tournament is really cool. He's teched in certain cards to his decks. He's also highly valued Rogue, in fact, over Shaman, and found success with that, taking that risk, really paying off for him in yesterday's group. Gets out in first place very easily. So
yeah, and it's very different from Caster's road, right? He just barely got out of his Group A. So
yeah, his road was more similar to what we just saw from Chunsu. It's like he barely made it through.
Yeah. In a couple of very close series, or rather 3 close series, because he had to go through that final match. And by the way, I saw your coffee there on the side, and it's like steaming, and it really gives me this homey, Christmassy Hearthstone feel. At first I was like, oh, there's a coffee on camera, and then I'm like, wait, no, it's good. I like it.
It's not actually a coffee. There's no sponsor logos, and it's not even coffee. It's just hot water from upstairs because it's really cold down here. You guys can see how cold it is in the studio based on the smoke coming off of my coffee. Like, I'm surprised you can't see like our breath. Like, it's commentate. It's like really cold down here. It's just really cold outside, and where we have this stage set up is like right next to several doors that lead directly outside, so the cold air is leaking in. That's the story.
That's the truth.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Look at it. It's right there. The truth is real.
The wind is blowing here inside the stadium.
You can like actually see the coffee. It's like really funny.
Yeah. So we're going to get into this one in just a bit here. Stick with us, guys. Both players are on stage right now, just setting it up, seeing what decks are they going to use and stuff like that.
Well, they're probably doing their bans, I guess, right now, which is, I guess, what you're describing, and making sure their settings are correct. We had that very quick commercial break between these sets, and they need to go sit down,
log in,
get their headsets on. They probably have to actually build the decks. They might even be using the same clients or something like that, so they have to like build the decks and put them on. We saw some pretty flashy gold cards coming out from Chunsu. We'll see if the others are going to be following suit. Here we go. This is it. This is a super important moment. The self-bans, pay close attention, as that's something whichever one of these players wins, bring to the finals. Can Caster upset here? It would be the biggest upset of the tournament if he does, based on what we've seen from DDaHyoNi already. People would have said the opposite if you know, we were watching before watching DDaHyoNi yesterday, but he looks so strong right now.
Yeah, it really does. Looking confident there on stage and on the screen. Only getting a look here at DDaHyoNi.
We do this shot of him before we show Caster. Now we're going to take that Caster side look. Caster looking really stressed out on day one. Narrowly, just barely eking his way through. I think he knows that there's definitely a lot of luck involved with his run, and it was one of the toughest of this tournament so far. He wants to prove that getting out of that group in a very frustrating fashion is a testament to his, I guess, skills and, you know, endurance. And this is a best of 5 that will determine whether he can move on to the finals, but that's just part 1. There's his opponent in the finals waiting up there. Chunsu, if he wins it, or either of these players will be watching and studying these decks.
Yeah, you get that advantage of going first. I was in the makeup room and they were like, oh, we don't have to go first, we can go eat now. But I'm like, well, you know, maybe you should watch the games to see what's going on. We have a Priest first pick from Caster and Druid first pick from DDaHyoNi.
Okay, well, DDaHyoNi might have been expecting the Druid Mirror, and he could still get it here. This is going to be a very interesting series as Priest finally makes its way into the mix. The self-ban on Mage for DDaHyoNi, and Caster will self-ban his Warlock. And that means there's a possibility that that is not handlock. It could even be a Zoo deck or a discard lock. If he's hiding it, there's definitely a reason. So it's likely a Reno, but there's a chance that it's a Reno with certain variations, or it could be more of an aggro Zoo type deck going into the finals. That deck removed here, but will be available later. I'm pretty excited about this one. This could be just definitely a different series than we've seen in this tournament. I don't think DDaHyoNi has the stronger list of picks here. We'll see if Caster can find value in that Priest. And normally with his first picks, you see those two decks first just because we're valuing them so much, but we could see something different here. Caster could run Freeze Mage first as well.
Yeah, very true. So we do see all of the decks here. Let's see what they actually pick for game number 1, DDaHyoNi versus Caster. Going into that right now.
It's going to be Druid versus Rogue here. Caster bringing the Druid out right away.
내가 대자연을 수호하겠다.
And it's going to be, of course, DDaHyoNi's Rogue. He's been showing us that first pick in most of his matches. He, in agreement with me, it's the best deck right now. Swashburgle off turn 1, grabs Patches,
And grabs Claw.
Yeah, not a bad one to pick up.
Astral Communion. Don't think you want to pick that one. He's going to pick up Claw of his own, so now both players have Claw. Awkward.
It's actually quite funny. It is going to be not the... What we saw yesterday, actually, was the variation with Cocoon. We saw Cthulhu as well, that mirror matchup that it really kind of decided that series, I feel, in the final match. This time it's going to be Jade Druid. So basically what DDaHyoNi just described in his tutorial video before the cast starts is actually what Caster is bringing. We haven't really seen much of that in this tournament.
He got Aya. He got Aya off of Swashburgle.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. I mean, he's not playing Jade, but
the Swashburgle will give you cards from the cult, if you will, and he gets this one. Not a very good draw, to be honest. He has likely no synergy in his deck whatsoever for that, so pretty dead draw. And we're going to see just the trade out here with the Entangling Roots. Just one of the 2/1/1s. And this game's flying by because we see the obvious play with a Fan of Knives. And the Buccaneer coming out here. And this turn could be a swipe, but it's more likely going to be the Jade Spirit to start building the Jade up. He's got, next turn he can play the Jade Behemoth, which is quite a powerful play. Especially if DDaHyoNi trades here.
Yeah, it'd be quite nice. We do have Caster down to 23 health already. Thinking about coining out Claw. Not going to go for it. Wants to coin out either Aya or the Jade Behemoth. Villager off the top, and he does have Claws, so he can deal with the Jade Spirit here quite easily.
Claw is very helpful against, or with the Rogue, obviously, because you look at that. Here's the coin Behemoth play I was talking about. It's not as strong with Tomb Pillager on the board, but it's still a difficult play to deal with. He'll have to take some damage to his face or have some more direct damage in hand to clear that. And it sets up for 3-3 and potentially 4-4 with Aya on the following turn. Big issue for DDaHyoNi again, as we say every game when you're watching the Rogue, is the lack of Auctioneer. He considers the Leroy for the trade.
It'll be a nice trade. And he's already got him down to 20 health with the Viscerate in hand. But he could even just go face after this. Has Conceal in his hand. Oh, he's actually even going to prep it out. So putting an immense amount of pressure onto our Druid player Caster already.
And with Conceal, Swipe will not be able to clear. He has the ability to gain 10 armor with Claw and Feral Rage.
He could gain 16 armor by using both Feral Rages.
True.
But that's like...
We won't be doing
that might
anything
be
else that turn.
Yeah, it might be his only play, I suppose.
He really hopes for another Jade Behemoth. He doesn't get it. This might actually be game.
Well,
not this turn, but with this, losing this turn, essentially just grabbing 16 armor is not enough.
10 damage on the board. He can make that 12 plus 1 from the weapon.
Cold Blood drawn. Can Aya Cold Blood if he wants. He's just going to save it. Looks like, oh, or is he?
Again, as you said before, Aya, it's a legendary, it looks cool, but is it going to really help him out in this situation? Only has 3 health.
He's not really happy with the situation. He's already attacked with his Tomb Pillager. The Cold Blood here isn't as strong as it could be because he doesn't have a weapon out. And he can't... There's no way to gain the Rogue ability from Eviscerate or Cold Blood without playing something. And he can't do Weapon and Cold Blood. So he Ayas and trades.
Oh, he picks up a second swipe. I think you have to swipe the Tomb Pillager for sure. And then he can trade out into Aya. There's only going to be a 2-2 left over,
yep,
so...
and he can claw to kill that one.
Yeah. See if he does. It looks like he put out Bran instead. Also pretty nice.
That's going to give him insane value with his next Aya play. Aya's at 2-2 right now, right? Or no, 3-3. So he gets a 3-3 and a 4-4. Oh, it's like DDaHyoNi's watching one of his tutorial videos.
And after that play where he went pretty all in, I guess he wasn't expecting the double Feral Rage to give 16 health on turn 6. So he really thought he was setting up for lethal, and once it didn't give him lethal, he just... His whole plan kind of fell apart, and his next draws were somewhat mediocre as well.
He never got the Auctioneer. If Auctioneer's in hand right now, this game is...
Exactly.
Like, almost certainly over. It already was almost certainly over, as I already called, but the comeback here for Caster is pretty frustrating for DDaHyoNi. And I feel like I agree with every play he's made so far. He's like, I just don't have what I need. He can do, in total, 8 damage, 9 damage here. He needs 16. Actually could do 13 if he commits to the Eviscerate as well. It'll put him down to 3 with the weapon swing. And Caster survives. He has the ability to heal for 3 next turn with Claw and his Shapeshift.
Oh, he uses Eviscerate on the Bran.
Yeah.
Oh, what a draw.
Sick draw.
Living Roots on the 6-2. You're sitting at 6 health, so if you wanted to Aya as well, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, I almost feel like you just swipe to clear, claw and hero power into face, heal up, and wait. It's gonna do as I just described so far. He may save the claw.
Yeah. Not close enough to killing DDaHyoNi yet. Doesn't need to put on that immense damage.
Yeah, I think with Leroy already gone and most of the eviscerates, I think he's in a pretty decent spot.
The draw of Conceal is going to do nothing.
This is only going to be a 3-3 from Aya because there's no Brand.
Okay, now he's clawing.
Because he knows that with more than one card, this could be disastrous. Okay, DDaHyoNi needs that Auctioneer.
Oh man, this is what happens sometimes with the Miracle Rogue. You get this kind of draw, Conceal into Counterfeit Coin, and you're stuck just stacking things for like 3 turns in a row.
If you spend your damage early and you don't get the kill, comebacks like this happen. Fandral, Behemoth, and he just lives another turn. Conceal isn't that scary anymore because he might be able to threaten lethal himself. He has right now 9-10 damage versus the 11 health. Any more direct damage will be enough. Buys him another turn, I suppose, but it's going to be now a 4-4 coming out from Aya when it's replayed. Probably just play the Behemoth instead, which will help defend it against anything else that can come, stops the weapon damage.
Innervate means he could Behemoth and Aya.
Looks like he will probably do just that.
Fandral instead.
Interesting choice.
He just uses the Innervate to get that extra armor. Yeah.
Well, even with a guidance in here, I don't believe it is possible for DDaHyoNi to survive.
Oh, yes.
And he doesn't get it.
Doesn't get it, and that's game number 1. That Rogue that DDaHyoNi is favoring so much with what looked like a good play, but then Caster with just the right cards to hold off the aggression. He does take game number 1 with that Druid.
You know, Caster has brought 3 totally unique decks here. In most 3-deck lists, when you go into a best of 5 like this, you look at Druid and you say, that's going to be the hardest one to win with. But with Priest and Mage, he's got to win with 3 totally unique decks here. So I would say if it were a Warrior and a Shaman with that Druid, that, okay, he's one with his most difficult. This could be a smooth ride. But we don't really know what we're going to encounter next. This is going to be a pretty crazy setup. I think that DDaHyoNi will definitely continue with the Rogue, though.
Yeah, I think that's what you got to go with here. He has a Shaman bound, so wasn't able to bring that. Caster, regardless what he brings, I think Rogue is going to be good against it. You see even Caster looking a little bit stressed out after that one. He's like, okay, I got the win with my best deck. Now I got to use my other decks. I mean, we don't know that for sure, that that's his best deck, but he did play it first.
DDaHyoNi, can he turn this around? He's brought himself a pretty standard deck list, nothing crazy like I thought we might see. Already losing with his trademark Rogue in game number 1.
And these guys just getting ready. I like the zoom in that we had on DDaHyoNi during the game, which showed his stressed out face, just how stressed out he was after that Gambit didn't work with the cold-blooded concealed Tomb Pillager. We'll see if he has some better luck here in game number 2 up against Caster at the 2016 Hearthstone KeSPA Cup.
All right, Jaina it is versus DDaHyoNi switching to the Druid. What works for your opponent may work for you, and we're going to see again the Jade Druid. Not going to be seeing any Kun here, and it is, by the looks of things, absolutely a Freeze Mage deck for Caster. Could be the Reno variation. There is one of those, but with this Loot Hoarder coming out as well, it starts to really feel like it's just standard Freeze Mage.
Just gonna pass, send it on over to his Druid opponent.
You know what? You might even consider taking Healing Touch here.
Yeah.
Because 8 health is such a surprise card too if you hold on it to it for a long time. If your opponent doesn't get that crazy combo with the Ice Lances later on. Loot Hoarder's the easy play here. And on the other side of things, we're just going to see that Wrath, trade a card for a card. He's considering coining out the Jade Blossom, where he'll gain a Mana Crystal, which will set him up for a stronger late game turn. He could even Aya on the following turn if he does that with Innervate. And then it may force Caster to trade instead. That's what he's going to do. There's the Jade Blossom. And Acolyte comes out immediately.
Didn't even see that turn happen. Gonna Wrath that down. You want to deny as many draws from the Freeze Mage as possible because it's just a deck that you want to survive for as long as possible and get all the pieces of your aggression, of your combo. So if you can deny those draws away from the Freeze Mage, you will have a better chance. There's a second Acolyte of Pain here.
He also has Tharson. Tharson is absolutely critical with this deck. Having it early is super important. Now, normally you don't see this type of play used. You don't normally see Charge, but again, denying those draws as you just mentioned. He's got the Kobold, that's one piece. And this is setting up for a fairly strong Tharson turn, especially if he draws either a Frostbolt or an Ice Lance next turn. Aya gives the 2-2. There's a lot of damage on board. He's going to Tharson. This is a greedy play with no Ice Block in hand.
Yeah, just wants to get it out there. And I think the most important piece there is the Kobold, but also, as you mentioned, the Frost Bolt going to be very important to reduce that cost. So just wants to get that there. From now, it's just survive until he gets the rest of the pieces, and then eventually try to kill this Druid.
Power of the Wild is actually pretty strong here with no Ice Block. So he's going to actually take this and take the damage. Will be 14 damage here. He can also clear Tharson.
I was thinking he would go for the Feral Rage and get just 8 more armor, because if, you know, one of the hardest matchups for Frost Mage, Freeze Mage is to play Warrior against it and just armor up a million times, especially when Control Warrior was really strong. So he already has 16 armor in his hands, or like 16 potential health and armor, so maybe that's why he didn't go for it, but at the same time, 24 is even better than 16. But
I'd say I kind of do agree with you because the armor allows you to have more than 30 health, and really the mage can do about like 28 to 32-ish damage if they have all the right pieces and the spell power. But if you have 38 and you keep hero powering every turn, maybe you get to a point where the mage just simply can't kill you, period. No one's running Pyroblast right now.
It's actually really nice that he gets the Jade Blossom there off the Innervate, so now he can Wild Growth and get another draw and another draw because of the gadgets end. So
he's drawing so much here, and he's likely to get an Idol soon. If he gets an Idol and Fandral, this game just turns on its head. I mean, it's already a strong board here for DDaHyoNi. And because there's only really 2 pieces of the combo with 2 Frostbolts and the Kobold, this is not a good position for Caster. He's going to try to clear this with the Doomsayer combo.
Oh yeah, the other very important combo piece in there was Alexstrasza too. Getting that out with 8 is really, really nice too. Trying to get that out as soon as possible. I think he was thinking here, can I get Alexstrasza out, or do I have to play it safe? And as you were saying before, this secret, it's not Ice Block, it's Ice Barrier. So.
What did he just Frostbolt? He Frostbolted the Auctioneer, okay, just to make sure the draws can't keep flowing. Somehow I missed that. The obvious choice. He's got his first Jade Idol. He doesn't have Fandral yet, so he might just hang on to that. And he's got probably, what, like 14 cards left? 10 cards left. So he's even less than that. So he's very close to getting Fandral. He has an Auctioneer he can't play right now. He can Ooze and Armor Up.
I hope he plays something quick so we can have these Nourish cards off the board.
He can also clear the Doomsayer with Feral Rage and Wrath. That will keep his board alive. It'll cost him 8 armor, though.
Yeah, I think that's what he's thinking about. The armor, as you said, is sometimes more useful than the heal, just because...
Yeah, you go over 30.
Yeah.
He's gonna swipe face.
Wow. We saw Caster doing some counting, but no real counting out of DDaHyoNi. He just decided, okay, this is the way. And now that he's cleared that board, immediately Alexstrasza comes down. He could die next turn. Well, he would need to draw like a fireball or something, but... You know, DDaHyoNi's getting close here. Getting kind of scared for him.
He may just simply heal an armor this turn. Doesn't allow him anything on the board, but he's still looking for that Fandral Stragelm. Goes for it. Will he heal? No, he's going to go for board.
I suppose with only 5 cards in the Mage's hand, he can just go for this.
He doesn't know that that's not Ice Block. With this deck, you don't really have spell that can kill. You can kill someone with Ice Barrier when you just attack them with spells that doesn't trigger the armor. But he doesn't know that. He doesn't have spells for it anyways. So it looks like if he does this, he will not shuffle. Like if he drops the 5/5 here, he doesn't get the shuffle, which means
well, he did already drop the 5/5. I think the UI is just bugged. Okay, so he has another Jade Idol.
Okay, so yeah, the UI is bugged. You're right. He hasn't played that yet.
I think he's thinking about playing the Ooze, or if he wants to shuffle here.
Shuffling is quite strong. He's going to keep this. Now, if he draws Fandral, he can shuffle on the following turn. He's going to see this and go, oh, okay, it's Ice Barrier. You didn't have Ice Block. He might actually smirk at that.
He kind of blinked his eyes a bunch of times, like,
Oh, the top deck Ice Block, though.
Yeah, he was bound to get it eventually.
Okay, this is the scary part. Look, he's got almost all the pieces now. He's got the Ice Lance, he's got the second Frostbolt. He lost 1 Frostbolt earlier to kill the Auctioneer. He runs 2 Doomsayers on this as well.
The Doomsayer, pink face, gets him down to now 23 health. And with Kobold, +2 spell damage, we'll make Frostbolt 5, Fireball 8, which is 13. Ice Lance will be 6, which is 19.
Draws.
So we're getting close.
Still doesn't get Fandral. He's looking for Fandral.
This time he's going to heal. He's like, okay, you just drew so many cards, I have to heal.
Is he going to shuffle? Oh, he plays the attack with no Ice Block. He's hoping for the lethal, but it's not going to happen. Ice Block is in hand. It was hidden.
Job's done.
Whoa, big Novice Engineer. Slow down!
Floating over there.
You need to chill out, Novice Engineer. I know you were nerfed a long time ago and you're upset about it, but look, you found your way back into the meta, and it's time to just relax.
Sometimes I feel like these bugs are purposely added into the game to add just more...
A little bit of entertainment to our cast?
A little bit extra entertainment into RNG Stone. And, yeah, that's a pretty big Novice Engineer. He's thinking about, does he want a Blizzard or not? Or begin putting down damage?
He's going to do this without the Kobold.
Okay, he's doing a bunch of damage right now. You guys can't see it.
Is he committing to it? Okay.
It seemed like he was.
Looks like he just put every damage directly down he had as the animation finishes on my monitor.
Okay, there it is. Okay. Okay. Here we go.
So he has Ice Block, so he lives another turn. He has Roaring Torch. But he needs 1 more damage. And if he doesn't get it, the game is over. Or if he doesn't get Ice Block. Both Feral Rages used, if I'm not mistaken, so there's no more heals. He's used Healing Touch as well. There's just going to be a pop Ice Block turn. You can throw out more stuff on the board if he wants, but there's really no point. Going to kill the Kobold, which is obviously a necessary choice with the sample beyond that. Looking to get his armor and end the turn. Even drawing could put him closer to fatigue. I don't even know if he should. He didn't get Jade Idols. There's the Ice Block popped, and he will Nourish, actually. Or no, he considered it.
Thinking about it.
I am against it. I feel there's no reason to draw here. It's really based on your opponent's draw. This is okay.
Yeah, 7 and 8, not bad.
He's already used both Doomsayers.
Oh, the Blizzard off the top. He can survive 1 more turn. attacking again. I mean, the Druid is always going to be at 9 health, though.
Both Entangling Roots were used. He didn't trade with a minion. He used Entangling Roots. He's going to regret that now.
The Living Roots.
Yeah, sorry, the Living Roots. He did not save that, so that actually could have won him this game. What does he draw? Druid of the Claw.
Oh, okay, so he does get the Living Roots and is going to go phase. So the Druid will win this matchup.
He could have also used Innervate and the charge on his Druid of the Claw to end the game as well. So 2 lethal possibilities, and Breeze Mage is defeated.
It's
to a 1-1
dead.
score.
Well, I guess it's not. It's going to come back once it has to play again, because that is the way our format works. In this sense, the Druid is dead, but he gets the win.
So both Druids removed now. And kind of a weird prioritization of classes here. And
So now we have Rogue and Warrior
yeah,
on the side of DDaHyoNi, and Priest and Mage still left over on the side of Caster.
with the Mage versus the Rogue, it's going to get super technical. There's so much you can't know in that matchup. I would hate to want to play that. If I'm Chunsu here, I'm playing Mage again, and I hope he plays Warrior. And I have so much clear. He runs 2 Doomsayer, as we already saw.
Yeah, definitely go for that. Lots of mind games, as we always say, in this picking phase of your deck. So let's see what they decide to pick going into game number 3. DDaHyoNi versus Caster.
Priest for Caster versus the Warrior. And it looks to be potentially Reno Priest, Raza the Chained variation absolutely possible here.
Looks like it.
He's running the Mind Control, so this is absolutely maybe some Reno Priest variation with Raza the Chained, almost 100%. And the Warrior we see, it's too early to tell what variation. DDaHyoNi actually very stressed with this mulligan, actually not confirming. Counting possibilities here. He's most terrified of Dragon Priest, I imagine, with this deck in this matchup. He's very lucky it's not that. And he doesn't know if he wants to keep this or not, because it's not really going to be his turn 1 play. He wants to play the Buccaneer and then Weapon the next turn. And he questions whether this will be value or not, and I agree with his choice to send it away.
Yeah.
Against either
Ragnaros. It's probably his highest cost minion in his deck. It's that Rag.
Okay, so with Alex Straza's champion here, we know this is going to be a very similar Warlock deck as what we saw on day 1. Wow, this Ooze pickup is so helpful right now.
That it is. And a Dragon coming up here, though, is going to give the charge to Alex Straza's champion. We'll be able to trade very nicely.
He can clear that. He will. Pretty easily. Reno in hand. Again, one of the most important cards to have versus any sort of type of warrior deck, because there is no control warrior. Seeing a Rag doesn't mean it's control, guys. Don't get too excited. With Chillmaw, we know this is going to be some form of like every priest deck has to have dragons. I wouldn't call this a dragon priest deck, but it has dragons in it. And there's synergy there, especially with another Spite Historian. You get more dragons. It's just about survival here. And with a Doomsayer already nullified, it really hurts Caster's chances.
Notice that he keeps the Fairy Dragon in hand and armors instead, so that he can have a dragon for that Blackwing Corruptor.
Mana Worm will be cleared almost immediately, no doubt. And oh, Blackwing Corruptor, or Corruption. Yeah, it is.
Corruptor, yeah.
Corruptor will use his Corruption to kill the 2/2. Alex Ross clears, and suddenly Caster in a bad spot. He could coin out his potion, his Dragon Blood potion. Raza the Chained is in the deck, as I predicted earlier, but I'd say you have to Dragon Potion here. Rods of the Chain will make the hero power cost 0 for the remainder of the game.
Which is really nice. But Mind Control Tech is nicer. And he gets the 5-4.
Oh man, if he gets anything else, this isn't the right play, I feel, but he gets this one. And this is an insane turn of events. Alex Strauss' champion did have charge, but he wouldn't have been able to clear anything powerful with it. He wouldn't have been able to clear the Corruptor himself.
Maybe Patches would have been okay. The worst would have been Small Time Buccaneer. Sorry, Small Time Buccaneer, but he would have been small time on that play. Takes the risk and it works out.
Fairy Dragon here, he's considering playing. It's risky against Holy Fire. Not Holy Fire, Holy Nova, excuse me. But most decks aren't running that right now, and it will be invulnerable to this potion. We're going to see Chill Maw come out. One of the chillest dragons we'll ever meet, but there's no dragon in hand, so his effect will not trigger. There's no way DDaHyoNi can know that, though.
Very true. So he's sitting there like, well, how do I clear this thing exactly? Because looking at his hand, he doesn't have an answer. Right now he has 5 damage on board. His taunt is going to be easily cleared by the Chill Maw. And Caster's deck really working out well so far.
Yeah, it definitely looked scary for a few moments, but with Reno in hand and how difficult this is going to be to clear.
Now, if the Mind Control Tech hadn't taken the Blackwing Corruptor, this wouldn't have been that hard of a trade against Chill Maw, but that's the way things go sometimes.
Yeah. Got very lucky with that one. Risks pay off in Hearthstone oftentimes. Took the big play. Just gonna try to buff this up. There is Shadow Word Death in hand. Can't clear it. Still. Just gonna buff this up. Yeah, this is actually, in fact, just gonna probably end turn.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He knows the possibility of Shadow Word Death.
Okay, you can clear that immediately. And this may be a Raza. He's not gonna use Death. He knows the possibility of Ragnaros and other larger cards in this deck, and he's going to save it. And that means that when this Ragnaros comes out, he will have the answer immediately. And now having this hero power cost 0 for the rest of the game means he can play his larger drops for free, or rather heal after playing larger drops for free.
Yeah. And he still has Reno. It's still just chilling there in his deck.
And he's like, wow, you didn't even have a dragon.
Ooh, he could even entomb. He knows that could possibly be the biggest card in the deck, and it looks like he will.
Yeah. Wise play. Can clear the Small Time Buccaneer. And then goes and heals the Raza. Goes with Reno. 2 health isn't going to be that significant. This is just DDaHyoNi flooding the board because he knows that there's really no other play. He's so desperate at this point.
Yeah. He looks so stressed, man. Cabal Chemist picked up. See if he goes for that. Picks up a potion.
Potion of Polymorph.
Well, not going to be too good against the Small Time Buccaneer, but
still,
scary.
It's a nice card to have. He's so ahead that even this is like not the worst case scenario. He's like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, this is something that DDaHyoNi can know absolutely is that potion as well, so he plays it first. He can activate Draconoid with this attack, but Shadow Word Death is still in hand. And Caster has considered almost everything, it feels, with how he's played this.
Oh, man.
He can Shadow Word Death and Reno. He can use the Blackwing Corruption. Oh, there's actually, you can use this as well. Then Shadow Word Death. And leaves the 3-1. Has the heal and has infinite heals with the Reno.
Obviously, there's no card that's going to pop out here and do 11 damage. Alex Strauss' champion just has to come out because there's no point in waiting for a dragon when you only have 1 card.
Especially when you have 37 health. Immediate Reno. Misplay, could have healed first.
Missed the BM heal on Alex Strauss' champion. It's okay. Lots of stress in this game.
Okay, there's a silence here he can use to destroy the Kor'kron Elite, but he can also just use the Corruptor. And I mean, this game is all but over. What could DDaHyoNi possibly draw to turn it around?
Blackwing Corruptor by itself, not going to be enough. Would have perhaps kept his hopes alive if he had a dragon. Maybe if he draws it next. But that Alex draws his champion. Okay, he's just going to drop it down.
Bran, silence a target twice if he wants to.
With the Pint-Sized Potion, he can take a pretty nice trade and heal up everything that he has to a very nice amount of health.
Yep, he's just going to heal this back to 5-4. Play Bran, and he's going to save the Whelp, I guess, for the activation. Make it a very powerful card.
Finley will come out.
It's like, you shouldn't have mulliganed me on turn 1. That's what he said in Korean right there. Perfect translation for you guys. And he may concede. I guess he probably shouldn't, because there's some weird possibility that like KeSPA makes every wrong move. We're going to find out what's left in DDaHyoNi's deck right now. Fiery War Axe, Hungry Dragon, he runs that. And he just concedes on KeSPA's turn. The first time I've ever seen that in a Hearthstone tournament. And there you go.
Decides it was over, and it was, at that point, just way too far behind. And KeSPA's Priest, we finally get to see that Reno Priest coming out for the first time this entire tournament, and it did work.
Now, if you're watching this at home, you might think to yourself, this is a terrible position for DDaHyoNi. He looks so stressed out. But it's Freeze Mage. Can he win with Freeze Mage against a Rogue or a Warrior? The Rogue matchup is going to be really tough, I feel, to survive that long. The Warrior matchup, it's a bit more of a slower Warrior, so I think the Freeze will be very strong against that. I think that DDaHyoNi should bring Rogue, but he's going to have to win with a Warrior regardless against the Freeze Mage, so it's tough for DDaHyoNi, but I think he still absolutely has a chance. He doesn't look like he is too confident in his chances, though, with this.
Even from the beginning, like before game 1, he was taking deep breaths, he seemed very nervous, and after he won game 1, he looked okay, but then things started going downhill as he loses to Freeze Mage and 2. Actually, no, he won against Freeze Mage in game 2. Okay, that makes more sense. So, anyway, we're up to 2-1 here for KeSPA, and he only has to win one more game.
Yeah.
And he's going up against, let me see what he's going up against, Rogue and Warrior.
Yeah, Rogue and Warrior. So, I think DDaHyoNi should play Warrior first. But realistically, it doesn't matter either way that much. He's already shown all of his decks. And
yeah. You got to win with both anyway. So it's whatever you want to play at this point. So
against the Rogue, I think the Rogue will have an easier time given the way that Warrior deck played out so far. It seems very much dragon-based. He even ran Hungry Dragon in the deck, which was pretty strange. We haven't seen that yet. And it's obviously a pretty strong card. It gives you a lot of health if you have taunts to back it up.
Yeah.
We didn't see Fierce Monkeys, though, in this deck. It feels like it's almost completely dragon-based for taunting and having board control.
Making sure that he always has the dragon kind of buff to all of his cards that require it. The Alex Strauss Champions that it runs, the Blackwing Corruptors.
Yeah, I don't even want to call this a aggro warrior. It was really just a dragon warrior aggro. He ran small-time Buccaneers, and that's it as far as I can tell. I think he ran 2 small-time Buccaneers. All was the only pirates.
And patches, I guess?
Patches, yeah. Well, patches are given, but I try to pretend like patches doesn't exist, and he just comes out of your deck. He's not actually a card.
So it seems like there's some kind of problem. We have Priest versus Priest on my screen. They're just testing something out. It looks like maybe some kind of problem.
Well, maybe
we had that bug again where the guy that takes a minion from the other guy's deck, or a card from the other guy's deck, where we got to see the Hungry Dragon, was, again, bugged on the side. So I think they just wanted to test that out first.
Yeah, this was the deck, the Freeze Mage, where we saw the giant Auctioneer as well. So I think we're trying, or not Auctioneer, Novice Engineer.
Novice Engineer, yeah.
So I think we're trying to make sure that does not occur again. I'm breaking the fourth wall to you guys right now, just being like, yeah, it was a bug, and we're trying to make sure it doesn't happen again, but it might happen again anyways.
Yeah, but it looks like we are ready to get back into the series. So let's jump into game number 4 right now, DDaHyoNi versus KeSPA.
가게 해드리죠.
All right, he brings Warrior. That Golden Freeze Mage coming out. 2 ice blocks in hand. That is a good sign.
Just make sure that you have that, but I'm sure you would have liked some card draw as well. Let's see if you can draw some. There's one. Loot Hoarder.
He'll save the coin. I think that's a fair play. Alex draws a champion, will get activation. Run in the face. Patch is in hand, by the way. And Hungry Dragon as well. That wasn't a Mirage earlier.
Wasn't a bug.
Yeah. How good would it have been to have the Zoth into Blooded Sail Corsair with patches flying off to the wind. Not gonna happen. Can coin double draw here. We'll save it though. It looks like he's more concerned about getting the good Blizzard off or maybe a Frost Nova combo later.
Coin is very important. You know, there are sometimes even later on where you're just 1 mana off. So you need to make sure that you save that for as long as possible.
Cultist, a nice draw here. Will buff the hook. Just more consistent damage. The draw comes out. There's Tharson. And he has Ice Lance and Frostbolt. Very powerful pieces of the combo. He's missing the Kobold. But he'll draw into that later, very likely. Hungry Dragon could be good here. He can clear whatever comes out, almost certainly. Maybe except the Gavaldir, which has come out quite a few times today.
Oh, that's
actually
awkward.
Pretty solid. He has to use patches now.
Yeah, could have used his weapon instead, but
he's gonna go face, in fact. He's gonna give the Novice Inherent Divine Shield because he doesn't care.
And Caster doesn't really care either. He's like, okay, doesn't matter. Gonna coin out Thorison.
So that's that fast Thorison getting 1 turn earlier than he would have otherwise. The coin getting value in that regard.
Would have been nice to give Thorison the Divine Shield, but not the case.
Well, he can clear this with the Blackwing Corruptor and the hook. No, he can't actually. He doesn't have activation. So he probably have to use the Hungry Dragon here. He cannot allow 2 Thorison turns. If all pieces are in hand, which he doesn't know that they're not, but if they are, that will be a game-losing move to allow that to survive.
Okay, gonna buff up the Cultist, or rather the Raider, Bloodsail Raider, all these different Bloodsail cards.
Gonna keep the Hungry Dragon healthy.
Definitely gonna be the hardest card for the Mage to get rid of with 6 health. In fact, a very good card against Freeze Mage, when you think about it. Yeah. Just because of the amount of health it has and how cheap it is.
Blizzard used here. Very powerful Berserker. I'm surprised he didn't run into the Berserker to allow a ping later.
Well, he does have that Volcanic Potion, so I think he's trying to save for that.
It's definitely something that totally slipped my mind there. And he can clear everything with the ping that way, but he just didn't, so. Well said, Valdez. Cleaned up my mistakes from since day 1.
That's what Codecasters are for. He does pick up Frost Nova, though, so you may just throw this out and Frost Nova first. Buys him an extra turn.
Oh, he's going to use the Ice Lance here, even.
Yeah, that's the one card that he can't really clear that well. The Volcanic Potion only does 2 damage to all these minions.
Really scary right now. If he had Mortal Strike as well, it might have been a game over without playing the Ice Block. This is a great position for DDaHyoNi. Ice Block will be used twice. How much time can he really buy here?
Gonna do this. He will draw from this as well and does have a ping as a follow-up.
Or could even draw and save 2 mana if he wants to use something else. Oh, he can draw, then drop another one and then ping, but he won't get Ice Block if he does that, so I'd say he probably has to Ice Block. Is he gonna play super greedy and use his last mana to freeze? Oh, he has Ice Barrier as well. But if he draws Mortal Strike, if he doesn't Ice Block, I was gonna say he has to Ice Block or he dies.
And now with Acolyte of Pain and Arcane Intellect, lots of draws. on the way. And with only 2 cards in hand now for DDaHyoNi, he gets him down to 1 health.
Yeah, but he can't pop the ice block. Ice barrier will come up first. He can hope that he can draw some direct damage to pop it before and then draw another direct damage, but I think you're really grasping at straws at that point. You should probably just pop the ice barrier.
What other direct damage does he really have? Mortal Strike, I guess?
He would need 2, and he doesn't even have 1 of them. And in fact, he might not even run 2 of those in this deck with all the dragons he has.
Or even 1. Like,
yeah, we haven't seen 1 yet.
He's really thinking this over. He's thinking about what he has in his deck. What are the chances for him to draw direct damage versus just swinging and getting the extra damage to the armor?
I like the armor because if this comes out later with Taunt, it can really be a nice defense against Alexstrasza. He's gonna put it out vanilla though, no activation.
Another Frost Nova. He can buy himself more turns.
There's Alexstrasza.
So important right now. That's what really gets the ball rolling. Right now he only has Frostbolt and Forgotten Torch, but Blizzard, he has a 2nd ice block. He has a decent amount of health on the way with the ice barrier when it gets popped.
There's the dragon he wanted a turn before. He is so stressed out right now. Okay, he has Blizzard for another turn. He's going to draw twice. Without that +1, he gets the Kobold.
There it is.
And we are in rage very shortly.
So, 19 health. Kobold and the 2/3 damage spells will be 10 damage, plus a ping will be 11.
He can pop Ice Block. And he may do so just because he doesn't know there's a 2nd one in hand.
The only scary thing is that he might die if he doesn't kill Alexstrasza.
Yeah, that's why he's really frustrated with this.
There's 11 in hand, plus the ping, and then on board there's 9. So that's 20, which
basically
is
a done deal.
Really close. Which is really, really close, because he's sitting at 21 health now, but he doesn't know exactly what spells are in the hand of Caster.
If he draws another Ice Lance, if he draws a Fireball.
Yeah, I think you have to clear Alexstrasza, as painful as it is.
Even going to clear this.
Ooh, double Forgotten Torch. He may just begin throwing out spells with how many he has. Let's see how many cards he has. He has 7. So if he begins putting Roaring Torches into his deck too, he's not that far off. So he may just begin doing that.
Yeah. Going to do it without the Kobold. We'll save the Kobold for more direct damage later. May even pop his own Loot Hoarder. That's going to be more useful than 1 damage if he draws Roaring, but I'll save it. That Loot Hoarder could also be 2 damage. And these dragons are just not getting the activation they need.
He's not even going to be able to pop at this turn either.
Ice Barrier.
And with the 2nd ice block in hand, this is looking insanely good for Caster.
Yeah, he has in hand currently 13 damage.
Oh, and he picks up Ice Lance. That should be it. There we go. Fireball into Frostbolt into Ice Lance, and that is GG. Caster's going on to the finals to face off against Chunsu.
A big upset by my estimations here. Caster with 3 unique decks, Priest, Druid, and Mage, will advance to the finals. Very well played, very well thought out decks. And DDaHyoNi, the big fan favorite here. And with how well he played yesterday, I really thought he was going to be the one in the finals. He is knocked out.
He's bopped out of this tournament. He does make it to the semifinals, which is not bad, but I'm sure he did want to make it onto the finals. So we have our 2 players now, Chunsu and Caster, 2 players that begin with C. And we will have to decide who is going to win the entirety of this tournament in just a few.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to have any pre-finals interviews or if we're just going to get straight into it after a commercial break. But who do you favor here, to be honest?
I like Caster's decks. I feel like he prepared a lot more. Chunsu just barely winning. And yeah, I definitely feel like he has the favor in my mind going into the finals for sure.
There's a lot to consider. We're going to take a look at these highlights again. This clear here on the Behemoth with Leroy Jenkins.
This is the play that's like when you're playing Miracle, you don't have any sign of Gadget's End and not too many activators for it. You're just like, I kind of have to do this. And it almost worked had Caster not had 2 Feral Rages for 16 armor to stay alive for an extra turn.
Yep. And we're just going to watch the end of this. These Living Roots to finish this off. Just keep staying alive. These decks we saw, from Caster, I feel like he's really just. This was the super risk mode play that he took. I don't even want to say that's a good play. Like I want to say like he got very lucky with that one.
It's like the 2 of the minions are good. Well, one of them is really good. One of them is okay. The other 2 are pretty bad.
I can't remember the other play he had, but I felt like the other play was like
Dragonfire Potion,
yeah,
maybe for the full clear. He would have had to coin that out. But,
it worked out for him in the end, but
yeah.
I feel like the decks Caster has brought here. I talked about it yesterday. I'm like, if someone brings another deck that breaks the mold here out of our Warrior, Shaman, Rogue, Warlock was looking weak, Druid was looking somewhat weak. He brings both the Druid and the Priest to start with. The Priest finds great success with the Raza the Chained Reno Priest deck. And he's kind of already gone down this path of what I was describing as the player to win it, brings something unique. And honestly, what we saw from DDaHyoNi was more of the same. I'm a bit disappointed that we saw
very
that.
true. We were expecting that out of DDaHyoNi, as we said yesterday. And the self-ban on Warlock out of Caster, he's like, no, I just don't want to play this. We'll see if it's something special in the finals, if he has to bring it out, or if he just doesn't want to play it here because he feels it's weak. Guys, we're going to go into a quick commercial break before the finals. Stay tuned.
Next